for the show. Okay, so the question we were asking is, why would every single government in the world, faced with the possibility of non-human intelligences interacting with humanity since time immemorial, why would every single solitary one of them on the face of the earth want to continue to suppress the truth regarding this ongoing interaction? What motive would the governments of the world have to continue to suppress the disclosure of the truth about extraterrestrial non-human intelligences? And again, when we're talking about non-human intelligence, let me just make this clear before we even move forward through this show or any coming shows. I am not going to get in any kind of a debate about the nature of these beings, okay? If you want to look at them as simple 3D organic, beings that happen to live on another planet in this galaxy or another galaxy, fine. If you want to look at them as extra dimensional beings that live in a higher dimension or frequency of reality, fine. If you want to look at them as demonic entities that are, sent here to torment us by, some evil god or evil supernatural being, I really don't care. If that's how you want to look at this, look at it however you want. The point here is that there are intelligences that are not human interacting with this planet and its people, period. Okay? Now, regardless of what their nature is, people may have different takes on that. Ultimately, when I break down what I feel the interaction has been between these beings and us, it all comes down to the same thing, folks. We need to step into our power and step into the power of truth and use the lost word, which is no. And it doesn't make a difference what their nature is at that point. When we decide to do that and decide that we're not going to have any more of slavery, that's when it will end. And not a moment until. And it won't make a difference what their nature is at that point. Because once again, then we'll be stepping into our sovereignty. Then we'll be stepping into the power of truth. And the universe will not stand against that, regardless of what might happen in the physical domain. Okay? So, try to answer this question. How many people have ever even really sat down and just considered that question? You see so many even UFO researchers, they spend so much time on the nuts and bolts of the phenomenon, trying to prove the existence. The existence doesn't need to be proved to me because I'm an experiencer. I've witnessed these craft that can't be explained. So, I don't need somebody trying to convince me of their existence or the possible origins of them or the possible nature of them. To me, that's not as important as, have they been here? What have they been doing here? What is their relationship to human beings? Why do they want to interact with us? Why are they continuing the presence possibly? Okay? And we can get into all of that conjecture and, even get your take on it, the listener's take on it as well when we go to calls. But many researchers, shy away from this question of saying why. What are the actual underlying reasons why no government on the face of the earth wants to come forward and talk about that these beings exist and they have been interacting with this planet? Well, I'm going to propose 3 overarching reasons why the embargo on truth has continued and is continuing now. And the first, of course, is the continuity of control. All right, this is image number 6 now. How do you continue controlling 7 billion people in a state of slavery? How do you keep 7 billion people enslaved? A small group of people. How do they do that? How do you accomplish that? Well, obviously you don't do it by sheer force, by sheer violence. You do it largely through getting them to consent. You do it largely through controlling their mind, their perception of reality. And how do you control that? The ultimate form of controlling perception is suppressing what people believe is possible, suppressing the human imagination. You want to really talk about the highest form of mind control. It's getting people into a limited view of who they are. Their imagination can't break outside of that box. They're locked into an ego identity. I am my job. I am what I do. I am my familial relationship. I am the relationship between me and my friends, etc. You know? I am my profession. I am my religion. You're not any of those things. You're pure consciousness having an experience in the physical domain to learn and grow. Oh, what a heretical idea that is, you know? But, you know, everybody has these limited roles that they willingly put themselves in because they have this attachment to this ego identity. The ego role that they're playing out in the three-dimensional realm in life. So when people get attached to that identity, they start to take on a very limited perception of what is possible. Because they believe this, and this goes hand in hand with the worldview we're going to get into talking about, that goes into the Darwinian worldview, which is a huge part of looking at the psychological dynamic when it comes to this topic. Huge part. Okay? When you take on this worldview that you are a limited being, what you're really doing is you're saying to yourself, it has always been this way. It is this way now, and therefore it always must be this way. Nothing can change, see? That's really what the whole scientism and Darwinian worldview is about. Human nature is about the survival of the fittest. It is about survival only. We are instinctual creatures that can never break that programming. That's there in nature, and somehow that's right, and it should be like that. Yeah. You know what that's called? More mental illness. That isn't just a Darwinian paradigm. That's social Darwinism. That's Satanism. It's the tenet, one of the main 4 tenets of Satanism. And most people are in a satanic mindset. Don't even know what it is. Have no idea what the tenets of Satanism really are. Don't even know that they, by believing this nonsense, being the way things perpetually must be, this whole social Darwinistic worldview, that they have ascribed to the ideology of Satanism. And I'm not telling you that I think that's what it is. I'm telling you that's what it is. I should know. I was a priest in Satanism for 10 years of my life. So you'd think I'd know a bit or two about the ideology they espouse, wouldn't you? It's time to break the code of silence. You're listening to What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. We're talking about the possibility of non-human intelligence interacting with humanity since time immemorial on this planet. Why people are so psychologically resistant to even wanting to discuss that, and why the governments all throughout the world have basically put forward an embargo on even looking into that as a possibility, and shedding tons of ridicule on that, on people who want to look into that possibility and explore the evidence for that. And the main reason they do that is because they want to perpetuate slavery. As the farmers of this planet, or at least the farm hands, you might say, they don't want the animals breaking free of their pens. And the way that you keep that from happening is you got to keep them in a box in the mind. You have to control what they think, or at least dissuade them from thinking outside of the box. Because the ultimate form of mind control, ladies and gentlemen, is the extermination of the human imagination. And I've put a little graphic to that effect on slide number 7. You want to know what the deepest form of mind control that exists is? It is the limitation of what people believe is possible. And if you put them in that head cage, you have them on your strings, like a puppet. And then you just give the command, dance, puppet, dance, golem, And it's a piece of cake, like nothing, child's play. And that all happens because we have abandoned one of the greatest gifts that we've been given as intelligent creatures, or creatures that should be intelligent. the imagination, the ability to visualize the way you want things to be, the way you want things to be, and then make that happen by an act of your will. To visualize something different than what is, and to understand it doesn't have to be like this. It being like this is a choice. People, it is a choice that is continuously renewed in every moment by the people who are doing it. See, that's what you don't want to wrestle with, because that means the responsibility to change gets firmly placed upon your shoulders. Okay? No one else. No one is currently doing this to us. We're doing it to ourselves. Yeah, things may have been done to us in our ancient past as a species, but that doesn't mean we're not doing this to ourselves right now in the here and now. Okay? And that is perpetuated by the idea that things are not possible to change. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about in the New Age BS material, for people who are familiar with that material. And for those who are not, you could watch the videos on my website in the videos section. I talk about in there the difference, truly knowing the difference of what cannot be changed versus what can be changed. And the human condition can be changed. You know what? It's just a lot of hard work is going to have to be applied. Effort. Knowledge is going to be required. Care is going to be required. Courage is going to be required. Effort is going to be required. Time is going to be required. Attention is going to be required. God forbid, man. Now, we can't have any of those things expended. You know? Well, we got to sit there with a bowl of GMO popcorn and, watch whatever crap's on cable tonight. You know? That's what we aspire as human beings in the modern day to do. Not learn about ourselves, our origins, what's been going on here on this planet, the immorality of it, and how it needs to change and go away, this current human condition. And it can. But see, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? There is a world of difference between can and will. Oh, there's that little word, will. How many people are willing this change to take place? See, it's all about the willpower and aligning our will with the creation's will, with the will of creation itself, with the underlying ordering intelligence that underlies all creation. Getting your egoic will out of the way. Not worrying so much about what you want. What do I want? How do I want it to... What do I want to be true? Am I comfortable with this being true or not? Who gives a damn whether you're comfortable with it? You think the universe cares whether you're comfortable with what is? Little you. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Let's rearrange the entire truth of the entire universe because little you doesn't like it being that way. Doesn't want it to be that way. Absolutely tough, isn't it? And no one wants to say it like that to somebody. That they're an absolute child in the mind, thinking like that. It's not about us discovering what's true and confronting it and dealing with it and accepting it for what it is. No, it's about what we're comfortable with. I mean, please, man. I don't know how it could get any more childish and imbecilic. Absolutely imbecilic. And yet this is where the majority of human beings are at, make no mistake. See, folks, look, one thing I'm not is naive. Okay? Whatever else people want to say about me, go right ahead and say it. Don't call me naive ever. I have my finger firmly on the pulse of where the psychology of this species is at. Better than almost anyone alive. Okay? When it comes to the understanding of the current human condition. Now, I'm not saying that to toot my horn or to, be playing ego games. I'm saying it because it's the truth. Because this is all I've studied for the past 20 years of my life. Non-stop, every day. And you can know a thing or two when you study that relentlessly about the human condition. Yeah, things can be known, folks. So, to go back to this idea that the ultimate form of mind control is when you put somebody's imagination in a cage. That's it. You got them where you want them, right there. That's it. And are people there? Is that the current human condition? Yes, it is. Whose responsibility is it to change that? Ours. It's our responsibility.